Okay, everyone, let's talk Dorney Park. So this park was such a great time, and I enjoyed all of the offerings, except maybe one little noticeable difference, which I'll talk about in this video, so stick with me, and welcome to Strength, Yoga, and Freedom Adventures by Justin. Alright, so Dorney Park, yes, located in Dorneyville, Pennsylvania. Actually, that's right outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Now, this park serves kind of the Lehigh Valley region of Western Pennsylvania. Now, the park's full name is Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom. It is around 200 acres, boasts 64 rides, 8 coasters, and there are 19 water attractions in Wildwater Kingdom. Now, I visited Dorney Park late July of 2024. The weather that day was actually a tad rainy with some overcast conditions, so I chose not to visit Wildwater Kingdom that day, and I really did not have a lot of time. I really wanted to test out and check out all the roller coasters specifically, since it was the first time I'd ever been there. So we're not going to be discussing Wildwater Kingdom, that part of the park, in this video. Also, during my visit, there were 2 different occasions where the rides shut down for nearby lightning or storms, and I saw the water park get kind of evacuated, the pools and such and the slides, a couple of times as well. So it was a little bit of a choppy weather day. So let's start first with those coasters, and I have to say, I was extremely impressed with this park's coaster lineup. There were so many unique features to these coasters that left me feeling like my adrenaline itch was scratched. Let's tackle them in alphabetical order. First, we're going to start with Hydra the Revenge. This B&M steel floorless roller coaster has what is called a JoJo roll, or an inversion before you even hit the lift hill. It was the first coaster I rode during my visit, and I actually took 2 laps on it in the morning, one in the front and one in the back. The ride was really smooth. It was fast. I absolutely loved the layout for a kind of an older, I know it's coming up on about 20 years now. For an older B&M, it was really, really awesome. And it was running so good. There was hardly any wait, and they were doing 2 train operations. So kudos to Dorney Park for really keeping Hydra to the Revenge just so smooth and so young feeling, so young looking. I loved it. So kudos Dorney Park yet again. Let's move on to the new coaster that just opened in 2024, Iron Menace. Now, I have to say, I am a huge dive coaster fan. I've been on SheiKra and Griffon at their respective Busch Gardens properties. I've also been at on Valraven at Cedar Point. But this one was so unique in that as soon as you crested the top of the lift hill, by the way, this lift hill is 152 feet also. Once you crested that lift hill, you plummeted down to the ground right away. There was no kind of waiting period or kind of a turn and then a break and then a hold. It was literally the top of the lift hill, the hold, and down you went. You just went right down. This coaster also has the world's first tilted loop on a dive coaster. That can be found right there on Iron Menace. I highly suggest a ride on this coaster if you can make it out to Dorney Park. Again, brand new in 2024. And while it seems like in the coaster community, this ride did not get the reception I think that it deserved, it probably, though, ranks number 2 on my dive coasters, right behind SheiKra. SheiKra is my favorite, and I would have to say I would rank this number 2 in my dive coaster spins that I've taken. Let's move on to Possessed. Now, if you watched my video on King's Dominion, which was the last video I put up here, you will note that I made a special comment about Dominator being a relocated ride from Geauga Lake in Ohio, and Possessed is also a relocated ride from the same park, Geauga Lake. This ride opened at Six Flags Ohio as Superman Ultimate Escape. It was later renamed Steel Venom. The ride operated at Six Flags Ohio / Six Flags Worlds of Adventure / Geauga Lake. until it was relocated to Dorney for a 2008 opening. This is a launched inverted impulse coaster, which I rode in the front seat so I could experience that full twist of the front spike, which I thought is really, really awesome. And I like being able to see directly down in front of me on the straight spike with nothing blocking it. That was super cool. It was really like riding and seeing an old friend all over again. So super fun. Felt like just another exhilarating ride that brought back a lot of memories from riding it up at Geauga Lake for all those years. Let's go on to one of the more popular ones, Steel Force, a 1997 Morgan Hypercoaster, which sometimes can get more favorable reviews than Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point, and honestly, I have to agree with some of this. I rode Magnum XL 200 about 3 times last season, 2024, and each time it kind of threw me around like never before. It just could have been where I was sitting. It could have been just the weather that day. Who knows? But I didn't feel like I was banged around on Steel Force like I did on Magnum. And who knows? I might even say that this was one of my favorite coasters at Dorney Park this trip. And just of all of the ones I rode, I just thought it was incredible. The speed, the airtime, it felt comfortable. It just is running beautifully. I just loved it. Let's go on to Talon. Now, after the rain cleared, the second time, that is, because there were 2 times that this happened, I got in line for Talon, which is a 2001 B&M steel invert with multiple inversions that leave you kicking the clouds above you. Now, if you like B&M inverts, you will like Talon. What I actually thought was really cool about this ride too was the color scheme. It actually was very, very visually beautiful. You could see it on screen. I think it's really, really pretty. It reminded me a lot of Silver Bullet at Knott's Berry Farm. The look, the feel. I kind of am about not just the way the rides have with the statistics and, you know, how fast certain things go and if you can get certain elements. I kind of like the overall feel of things, and I really, really like the vibe that Talon gave me. So I highly recommend this when you go. Highly recommend this. Oh, don't miss it. On to the park's wooden coaster, Thunderhawk, for 2024. This ride was celebrating its 100th birthday. That was super cool. I have heard mixed reviews about Thunderhawk, but I really enjoyed this ride. Classic PTC, Philadelphia Toboggan Company coaster, and it sitting right next to Steel Force. That was really cool. I have a picture here I'm going to have on screen that shows Steel Force and Thunderhawk next to each other. It was just running one train when I was on it. It could have been because of the weather. One train could have come off, but it was a little bit of a longer wait, but I definitely enjoyed it. It definitely felt like there was some excellent airtime, and also I felt like, again, that ride was aging very well, and they were taking great care of it. So, again, kudos to Dorney Park for taking care of their coasters. Now, the last 2 coasters in the lineup are Wild Mouse and Woodstock Express, which neither of those, I didn't ride either of those. So let's move on to some of the other rides that I found noteworthy here. First of all, if you are a nostalgic Cedar Point fan like I am, you will find the classic Demon Drop at Dorney Park, which operated at Cedar Point until 2010. Now, there aren't many of these left, and with the way the new Six Flags Entertainment Company seems to be getting rid of rides now, I mean, it just seems like they're purging some things. If you like Demon Drop, I would get on that now. It just feels like that one could be an issue with maintenance. It doesn't feel like it. It is an issue with maintenance quite a bit. There's quite a bit of downtime on this. There always has been. It just feels like it could be in some jeopardy. So I would get on that on Demon Drop if you can next time you get over to Dorney Park. Dorney Park also has some really nostalgic classic flat rides like the Whip, Apollo, which is a swing around ride, a 1984 Enterprise. They have a wave swinger. And I also really enjoyed the Zephyr Railroad, which is a train that offers a view of the park that is not available by walking, especially back and behind Iron Menace and along wooded areas with a small river. So it was really, really cool. It's great for relaxing, great for picture taking. Check that out. There's also 3 water rides as of this recording at Dorney Park. Thunder Canyon, which is a river rafting ride, Thunder Creek Mountain log flume, and Whitewater Landing, a shoot-the-chute rides that to me looked exactly like Snake River Falls does at Cedar Point, or did look before they took Snake River Falls out. I rode Thunder Creek. Out of the three, I rode Thunder Creek Mountain because, as I mentioned before, the weather wasn't great. It wasn't super hot. Actually, while I was there, Whitewater Landing wasn't even open. So I really enjoyed Thunder Creek Mountain, though. That was really, really cool. Now, during my visit, there were advertisements for summer nights, but I was there during the week, and that event was only happening on weekends. Now, I will say that I love when I see other entertainment being added to amusement parks, especially ones that don't draw in the same level of attendance as big mega parks that see maybe 3 or 4 million visitors a year. I think it's really important for a park like Dorney Park to offer more than just the thrill rides in a water park and the family stuff. The events like summer nights draw in a more kind of a diverse crowd looking for something to do in the area, something fun, something unique. And this appeared to be the only live entertainment that was being offered, at least while I was there during the time that I visited. And I am a big live entertainment fan. I think it creates balance from the non-stop riding, walking, water park, swimming, sun, all of that stuff, being super active. I just think it creates a nice balance. And I think resting and stopping and pausing when you're at these parks is super important. So let's move on lastly to the one area that I was actually really surprised with, and that was the food. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I had one area that I thought was a little bit of a noticeable difference, and that is the food. Now, in 2024, I visited many theme parks, and this park's food offering were slightly different than what I saw in offerings at other Cedar Fair, or what we will call the legacy Cedar Fair parks. I have the all-season, all-park dining option, which allows me to eat 2 times every time I visit one of those legacy Cedar Fair parks. And I cannot speak, though, for the Wildwater Kingdom food offering, so we have to kind of eliminate that because I didn't go to Wildwater Kingdom there. But what I can say is most of the food offerings on the dining plan was the typical pizza, burgers, chicken tenders, fries. Now, there were a few select offerings that were a little unique, like Chickies and Pete's. Yes, I did eat there, and yes, it was very good, as well as the Iron Mill Grill and Bar. Now, I did not eat there, but I saw pierogies, I saw pretzel bites, and I saw other unique salads and sandwiches. So that one, to me, those 2 restaurants, Chickies and Pete's and Iron Mill Grill and Bar, seemed like the most unique options for food. But overall, I was really surprised to find a much more narrow offering of food choices. That was surprising to me at Dorney Park. While this is not one of the chain's biggest attended or most kind of diverse, coaster ride collection park, I found the food offerings to be less diverse than what I've seen at so many other parks. That, however, isn't a negative review. It just kind of is what I encountered on my visit, and I was kind of surprised by it. That's all it is there. Now, this is one park that if you're ever near Philadelphia, or you're doing a Pennsylvania coaster trip or a trip over to the East Coast, and you have what is now the Six Flags all-park passport on your pass, spend a day there. The lines are relatively short. The park has some exceptionally awesome coasters, as I mentioned, all a different variety than perhaps what you would find in other coaster collections. And even though I didn't visit Wildwater Kingdom, it does look like it's a blast. I do know that Wildwater Kingdom is very, very popular. It's loved by a lot of locals over there, so I really suggest, if you're a water park fan, check that out. And the staff was amazing. The crews were friendly, efficient, and welcoming. So I have to tell you what, I loved my first visit to Dorney Park, and I hope that you get a chance to check it out soon. So I will see you all on the next video, and I will see you on the midways or on board your next cruise.